Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Zuberek, and I'm reporting for the topics of the town news. And I'm reporting today on the Beverly Airport Commissioners meeting that was held on October 21st, 2024. At that meeting, I and several other residents of Danvers have made and continue to make appearance at the meeting to present public comments that have been ignored over the last few years. And the thing is that I want to make sure that we have an introduction to this meeting, because the meeting is about an hour long, and it is very interesting of what transpires, because at the end of the meeting, I have received several good comments from the airport commissioners in regards to the efforts of the Danvers residents preserving their quality of life and objecting to the actions of the commission. First and foremost, what I'd like to do is October 21, 2024 is a meeting that was held at the Beverly Airport Commissioners Conference Room. And you'll see that it's well attended by the commissioners, and there are only 2 members of the public and 1 member from the operations of the facility. And one of the attendants for the operations is a owner and operator of one of the schools at the airport itself. First and foremost, what I'd like to do is introduce you to the 4 comments that I've made at the airport commissioners meeting and for the public at large in Danvers, Beverly, and Wenham. I have been pleading with the Board of Commissioners about public comments. Public comments have been made at every single meeting that they've conducted. And as you'll see in the presentation or the recording of the meeting, the comments are totally ignored. They are given, and we as residents are given an opportunity to speak for about 3 minutes each, and after that, there's no action in regard to any of those comments. And even our own commissioners that are sent there by Danvers, we have 2, and we have Bill Kosawan, and we have Aaron Henry. Even our commissioners are objecting to considering the appropriateness and the contents of our public comments. So, as I have stated in the past, it is time to remove Aaron Henry from the position of Airport Commissioner for the town of Danvers, because he has not represented the residents of Danvers at all. The second item about the agenda that you'll hear is the executive session that was planned, and it was conducted, as I understand, because executive sessions are closed session, not open to the public. Commission will meet via a non-public Google Meet 2. This was a proposed, and I'll just give you a little synopsis, proposed executive session to discuss airport manager's salary at all, pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, Open Meeting Law exemption. Well, as a result of this meeting, executive session that was conducted, I have filed an open meeting law violation, and they have agreed with some of my contents, and they have conducted a meeting this last Tuesday, which was October 29th, in response to that open meeting law violation. However, they have conducted the executive session in disregard of my warning them that I will be filing this open meeting law violation. So we have double the violation right now because the executive session does not permit this kind of evaluation of a appointed town, not a town manager, but a airport manager. So this saga will continue. However, they are violating open meeting laws, and they have not responded to my inquiry in regard to that matter. The third item that I have that will be seen during this presentation is an open meeting law violation, which I already explained, and that is continuing, which with no response from the Airport Commission. They have decided to conduct another meeting in executive session again, which is improper. The extensive growth of the hangar, the runway extension, have been included in a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request, and 3 of those requests have been filed with the Airport Commission and the Beverly Airport Manager. The response has been, oh, heck with you guys. We're going to charge you $500 for printing out these requests. And they are very simple. All they relate to is the decision process of the leased property and the actions by the airport commissioners in regards to how this is being handled. Now, that is going to be appealed, and will request a relief on the $500 fee that they want to charge the Danvers residents for request of information that is readily available and it's public information. That will continue. I will attend the next meeting and express my views on that. At the end of this presentation, and hopefully you'll have enough patience to conduct a real review of what has been recorded, Jason Roulet, our guest 2 shows ago, a commissioner for the city of Beverly, and Ms. Gillette, is expressing the concerns in regards to how the Danvers residents who are directly impacted by the activities at the airport with the expansion of the hangar and the extension of the runways and relocation of the taxiways and the location of the fuel depot have expressed real concern. And I am thankful for their input. However, I need to expedite this review that they are looking for. And I appreciate both of their concerns, and I appreciate the concern of our other Danvers Commissioner, William Kossawan. Mr. Aaron Henry has basically abdicated his position. He has resigned, but he still is being held on to the commission because the town, in their wisdom, has not selected a new representative. I will be going to Dan Bennett to request that this be expedited because Mr. Aaron Henry is no longer functioning as a representative of the Danvers community. And I wholeheartedly appreciate his time, but he is no longer a representative of our town. So, go on and listen to the contents of this presentation, which is a direct recording of the meeting itself. There are spots where you may not be able to identify the voices, but it is totally recorded directly onto my film. So, enjoy the presentation. Give me replies or comments back in regard to what you're seeing, because it is very important for our community to be represented and reduce or eliminate the impact of the growth and congestion that's coming from Beverly Airport onto Danvers at the west side of the airport. So enjoy the presentation, and I will see you in about a month for the next show. Thank you.
Commission meeting to order. Thank you everyone for changing your schedules and coming a week later than usual. All right, we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and we'll move on to calling of the roll. Commissioner Zuberek.
Here.
Commissioner Gillette.
Here.
Commissioner Roulette. Commissioner Ortelic is here. Commissioner Kendrick.
Here.
Commissioner Kossawan.
Present.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
And we are missing Commissioner Doxey, who will not be joining us tonight. And we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from September 9th meeting. Yes, Commissioner Henry.
It could be how he spells his name. I don't know for sure, but Ace Chase is in the minutes a couple of times. It's spelled with a C, like C-A-C-E. I would assume it's C-A-S-E, Chase.
C-H-A-S-E.
Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, for sure.
C-H-A-C-E.
Oh, see.
If you look like on page 2, it's a couple of times on page 2.
Yes, he.
At least you were consistent.
Correct. That is not correct. I assume that is a unique spelling of Chase.
Known the guy for 25 years, I couldn't tell you. It's C-H-A-S-E for sure.
For sure.
C-H-A-S-E.
Yes, okay.
Okay. All right. So
I have no other comments, so I would move that we accept the minutes with the correction of the spelling of the name.
Second.
all right, we have a movement from Commissioner Henry, a second from Commissioner Zuberek. All in favor? We did.
You don't need to do
Okay,
it.
aye. That's passed. We have accepted the minutes from September 9th meeting. All right, we'll move on to public comments. Would anyone from the public like to speak?
Is there anybody else here from the public? I do.
Just our two favorite gentlemen.
Yes. I'll take you here.
All right.
That's fine. Locked up anyway.
Just state your name for the record, sir.
Mark Zuberek,
Danvers, longtime resident. I have 3 items for you today. First of all, I am very concerned about the prior public comments that have been submitted, whether verbally or in writing. None of them have been addressed or even considered in this meeting. So I am very concerned about that. That is a very legal matter that's going to have to come up pretty soon.
Do you think we have to act on your suggested motions to this board?
I
Is
believe
that
so.
what
I
you
believe
think
so.
we have an
Yes.
obligation to act on
Yes, you
a
do.
motion from?
You have to consider them. The problem is that...
Do we?
Yes, you do.
We've received them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you file them in the round basket where they reside for every single month from now on. I'm very concerned about that. This is supposed to be a public meeting. This is public comment. And public comments are meant to address the board of what issues does the public have in regard to this operation. I know your operation is business related. So, not to run out my 3 minutes, I have 2 other items. One of them is your current agenda. Your current agenda, I think, is way out of proportion to what you're going to be discussing in executive session. The excerpt from the agenda is identified on there, and an explanation is given on the back side. The consideration of a manager's review is a public matter. It's not a private matter for the board to consider. He is no different than a town manager or a mayor in the city of Beverly.
He actually is, because he is an employee of the airport. He's not an elected official. And so we've already done this before.
Yeah.
We've
Well,
gone through this
I contest that you are
That's-
wrong,
That's absolutely fine.
and I have submitted that for your consideration.
Thank you.
The last item is related to the extensive growth that's happening at this airport. And it relates to the hangar construction, the runway expansion, the additional hangar renovations that are happening on the west side. And I have submitted, with support from many other residents, 3 FOIA requests, which were basically denied from the factor that they want $500 to do this investigation because we're the public and we have to pay up. This is going to be considered as well. That's all I have for you tonight, but I believe that you are making a mistake on this executive session because it should not be happening. And we have the same situations in Danvers. They're having their meeting tomorrow night to reconsider something. So, take it for what it's worth.
Thank you, Mr. Zuberek. Any other public comments?
Might as well.
Tony, step right up. Please state your name for the record.
And
sir.
Antonio Benbow, 15 Folk Circle, Danvers, Massachusetts. All right, so I don't know, it's been a little bit better, you know, the Jets are getting a little bit ridiculous sometimes, they're getting loud, you know, shaking and all that stuff, yeah, okay? You guys have been pretty good, consistent, except a couple of times we've caught you guys not doing the right runway that you're supposed to, okay? Today you're on 27 because of call swap, we've been watching it all day long, it's been calling for it all day, so we have to suffer, but we don't want to have to suffer, we don't have to suffer, okay? And then I got some complaints from Beverly, like, wow, 3 people called me, believe it. They've never seen so many planes in all their life, okay, I swear to God, I don't know, I told them to call you guys, I don't know, I didn't give up your numbers like that, I don't know if I should. Should I go with numbers that I got for you guys or what?
It's on the website.
Yeah, I mean, phone numbers, email addresses,
Yeah, I
whatever
mean,
you
I don't know,
want.
they want some information from me, I mean, whatever.
We'd love for complaints to just
Yeah,
go through the
believe me,
website.
they're all on the farm area there over there, maybe farmers, and they're not too happy. They've never seen so many planes all day long, especially when one's around 1-6. That's it, there's nothing, that's all.
I'm just giving the wrong number so they don't fix it.
No, actually.
You don't have them confused.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to give all the number, I have his number and his number, I don't know if I'm supposed to give.
Yeah, no, you can totally give my number out for sure. My number.
I told them to call the airport and file a complaint, I don't know, they said it's a pain in the neck to try to do that, that's what they told me.
No, they can call me, they can call Gabe, we've always.
Well, I have a number, but I didn't give out, that's all I'm saying.
It's totally fine, it's
I
totally
just want to
fine.
be sure, you know.
No, I appreciate it.
But please,
Yeah.
please give them my number.
Yeah, I think it was the issue.
No,
There was a lot of activity that weekend, but, but I think it was the issue.
They said they'd never seen so many planes in all their life.
Yeah, well, welcome Senator Lovely, thank you for joining.
Good to be here, thank you.
Any other public comments? All right, we'll move on to tenant comments. Any tenant comments? Paul, if you'd like to?
Sure. The business Aviair Flight Simulator is launched and going very well. We're not taking in customers just yet. We're setting up infrastructure, getting comfortable, but we're getting very comfortable in Building 45 in that suite. If anybody, you're going to end an executive session tonight, so I'll probably be asleep by the time you guys finish. But any other time, if anybody would like to come over and see, please maybe drop me a line, and I'd be happy to host you in there. They're very impressive. Each of the simulators, we have 3 of them, takes an entire room, and it's everything from King Air to Malibu, Mirage, Meridian. We're working on PC-12. We have the Cape airplanes, the Cessna 402, 421s, etc. Baron, Bonanza, everything, all interchangeable plates and screens, and they're heavy, and a Piper Seneca too, and so we're very excited about that. We're going to build we have some nice curricula built on those sims, multi-day programs for initial and recurrent training. Also, we have some contacts from foreign governments for them to send for governments that still use those kind of airplanes for various purposes, military and whatnot. So we're pretty excited about the potential for this, and we're really enjoying the space, and I'll keep reporting as things progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much for
Does anybody have any questions for Paul regarding this?
The next time the 99s are up here, I'm going to contact you to see if we can tour the facilities.
Oh,
okay?
yes, absolutely, definitely.
Any other tenant comments? All right, we'll move on to Airport Solutions Group. Craig?
Okay, first project topic, the environmental assessment, environmental notification form. We had an internal kickoff meeting, we wanted us in the BZA, we have project going, so right now we're just working on draft documents. So I got really nothing, a lot to report on that, statistics, kind of prepare that document, and sketches, and calcs and all that. So we are still waiting for the MassDOT grant offer to come in for the project. I don't know when it's coming in. I've reached out to MassDOT. Maybe it's coming. That's in general comment on that. So that's that project. The aeronautical study is still ongoing. Right now, we pretty much finished analyzing your approaches. Now we're kind of we're writing up a report, draft report, and looking at mitigation measures. All right, I don't want to make it sound onerous, it's not, it's just standard, because I always know at the end of 3-4, you have obstructions. The side of the hill's an obstruction, you have the buildings, but you got like red lights, you got no mark, so that's something we talk about in the report. And I know we're going to get a path we have to run the 3-4 is. So that's the kind of things we have to look at next, is what are some of the mitigation measures could be.
Can you say that again in English?
Mitigation
I
measures?
heard happy and.
Happy to
I
Jesse's
don't know.
point, Jesse didn't catch me on that. Precision approach path indicator, it's a set of box lights. You have one at the end of 16.
Okay.
Set of box lights, red and white. And when a pilot comes at a certain angle, they'll be a certain way, they know they're on angle, too high or too low.
So the comment that you said is that we don't have those and we would.
You don't have them at the 3-4 end, but you're going to when we do the runway project. Because that's one of the last runways that doesn't have a path.
2 sevens are down also, not working.
What's that?
2 sevens are down, not working.
Are they, okay.
Yeah, I heard that,
They're
yeah.
not working, I don't know.
They're not working.
They're too
I
sound.
don't know.
No, they're not working.
So,
Hey, can I say one more thing? I forgot, just one important thing.
Hold on, let's just
No, I
let
know,
Craig
okay,
finish.
just-
Let me just
he
let
might-
Craig finish.
he might be able to answer it.
We'll get it after that.
keep going.
Yeah.
So that's, so there's a couple things where we have to start working our way through that. And then, submit the draft reporting sketches and stuff like that, that they massed out in the airport, and we want that meeting. And eventually we come up with a plan, you know, of what you have for obstructions or non-obstructions.
How soon until we get
Yeah, it's
anything?
probably, yeah, it's probably another month still, you know,
Okay.
it's a slow these projects, I know, it's like every month doesn't seem like much is happening, because these projects do go slow, because, there's, other FAA approvals that go along with the aeronautical study, and we gotta wait for that in order to kind of like finish up the, you know, addressing the obstructions.
Do we know if that berm out there is in?
On the right-hand side there?
Yeah, is that?
That should be fine, as far as I know, that should be fine, I
It's
don't think
okay.
that's an issue.
Okay.
So I think, you know, I do believe you do have obstructions at 16N, but you always have obstructions. That's why you have the displaced threshold. And that's why you have a path B that's at 3.5 degrees. Usually it's at 3 degrees is the standard design, but it's at 3.5, because that's helped mitigate obstructions out there. I don't know which ones, because we don't set that.
Right.
And if they flight checks it, when they fly around, in an airplane they fly around, they'll fly the approach, and then that's how they set it. You know, hey, set it up another half a degree. You know, I don't know what they do, but that's kind of how they do it.
But we'll get an overview of every obstruction,
Yeah,
everything
we're
that's
gonna have
broken
it.
through, and
Yeah. So we look at, you know, you have different approach services, right, for each runway end. This depends if you have a visual or if you have a non-precision, which is a GPS and all the variations of the GPS stuff. So there's certain services, there's like 3 services we look at, I think, for almost every runway end. Okay, so. The last project, so my apologies, I was not here last month, and Bob was here, and you guys had concerns about the fence, but I want to let you know that, you know, I was very well aware of some of the issues already. I know you guys had concerns about some of the gaps, et cetera. Since that going to add to my plan or whatever, so I can send it to the contractor. The contractor knows he has to come back and still do the punch list. But I am waiting for Owen. Owen's waiting to talk to you, Gabe. Fine. You know, I know Owen can get a little testy at times, you know, a little angry and that, but I wanted to let you know, I think, you know, like 95% of the fence is fine. Now, you're gonna go through, he's gonna take it apart. You know, every little detail. You might think that it's not a good product, but it is a good product. That we have some issues for sure to fix, and they will be fixed.
okay. I'm just wondering too, like, as, like, we have ASG out there, and like, I went out a couple times, and there was a guy sitting in the car, like, as they're installing the fence, and you
Yeah,
see.
they don't, we tell them, but they don't fix it as they should have. We keep telling them, and they don't, right? So they came back at the end, and, you know, they did go through and try to fix some of the gaps with some barbed wire, but the barbed wire really needs to be tightened up. It's like not in line with the fence fabric and stuff, it's like it's in here, so it's a little too loose. So
Yeah.
there's ways to fix that.
Yeah, I just didn't know, like, if, like, that ASG employee on site, is he supposed to, like, look at it, like,
Yeah.
and say, hey, you know, we've got,
Yeah.
and then report back to
Yeah,
whoever,
we
and
keep,
then,
keep reports
and then,
back
like-
to me, we keep a running punch list.
I'm just wondering, like,
Yeah,
how do we, like, if we're gonna get another section of fence or whatever, like, how do we stop them in the, like, at that moment and say, we can't keep moving forward, because there's a massive gap, like, this is gonna be detrimental to the finishing of this, you know, in 6 months or 2 months from now. Like, how do we like make that,
Yeah, so.
who has
so
the
I
authority to
just-
say stop?
Yeah, well.
And like, don't keep going, making this look horrible,
Well,
you know,
couple
like.
things. This project was a MassDOT project, right? And they had to spend the money by June 30th. They only gave us 30 calendar days to do the project. ASG did not agree with it, that came from MassDOT, because they had to spend money. So we weren't gonna stop the project anyhow, because it had to be done by June 30th. And we started, what's before, May, I think, around,
Yeah,
right? So, like I said, at least for this project, they ain't gonna be like putting a stop work order, because.
right, but I mean, we still went over an enormous amount of time, and we
We
still
did,
are,
and it-
we're still working on it in the
Right.
middle of October, you know,
Right,
so I just
right.
feel like.
So it's not really a stop. I mean, you could stop them if you want, but, you know, you move the project forward and you note it as a punch list, hey, you guys gotta take care of this thing, right? Any of the gaps and all that, you know, it's kind of a, I'm gonna say a fine line, you know, it's like contractors out there putting forces to get the fence installed, right? And if there's that gap, if you wanna stop them, you can just stop, but then they could claim something back at you. You know, it's not like they're not performing on the project. I know there's a gap, and maybe you gotta put maybe we should have put something temporary down just to cover the hole. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not something final, but that's something maybe we should have done. Something like that, right before we do a final solution, covering that gap up, just to prevent anyone from crawling under or, it.
Taking a step backwards, what did the plans specify for a gap between ground and bottom of fence?
It's 2 to 3 inches, and, you know, it's tough, it was very tough terrain out there, so there's some areas that have a bigger gap than that, but there's a couple of two areas that have a large gap, because one is an outfall, so it's really deep, so you can't follow that, so we do have a detail on how to deal with that. And the other one's a stream crossing, which is always a difficult thing to get. It's not just like a stream this, it's stream like this, so, so, you know.
I'm just wondering now, how badly did they derogate from the plans? And
They did, because when they stream the fence, it's like, they stream the section, so they can't do it post to post. You know, what they do is they stream a certain amount of section, they grab it, and they stretch it, and then they go through and move it a little bit and then tie it. That's how they do it. You can't always, because, the ground is uneven, they'll do their best, but they can't always get, right at the 2 inches. And there's ways around that. If you don't have that proper gap, you can't put, barbed wire, somewhere in the middle, depending on how big the gap is, 1 or 2 strands, and put in some rebar to tighten it up. You can do that as allowed. That's usually the standard.
Which they did, they put the barbed wire
But
without
they
the
didn't really,
rebar.
but it was a little too loose.
Yeah, they didn't put any rebar and.
And it's not quite in line with the fence, some of it's like behind it, so
Yeah.
that has to be all taken up. And that was, we have that over. But, it's my opinion, 95% of the fence is fine. I don't know if you guys walked the fence,
Yeah, Yeah.
so, that we got
some of the gates were like huge gaps underneath the
Yeah,
gates too.
we talked about that. So I had a walkthrough with MassDOT before that, without a home. And I took that information and I walked it again and made an overall plan.
Yeah,
And that's one of the things.
and I know Owen had said like the company had received the fixes and supposedly came out and fixed,
Yeah,
and then we walked it and
Yeah, they
they
did.
did,
They did.
and they did some things, but they didn't fix it. And it's like, then it goes back to like, why do we even remove the old fence? Like, if we had just left the old fence and put in the new fence, we would have at least had that safety barrier. Because now we just have like, animals can just run through, like, we saw the fur and,
yeah, a couple spots.
There's
There's
spots.
real big ass for it.
yeah, so
Yeah,
I would have rather stopped and been
Well,
like,
we
fix
already
this
went,
now.
it was
But,
3 years ago, we permitted this thing, and that was the idea, was to remove the fence, so. we-
yeah,
And the compound one we removed too, so. and on the runs.
yeah.
So working on it, I just need Owen's comments. I know he sent me a text of the route, and he has numbers on it, and he just said that it doesn't.
Yeah, he did like a GPS, he did like.
Yeah, but I was like,
track
what do the numbers mean? Give me,
Yeah.
that's what I want, so I can put it on my plan and send it out to the contractor, and then we'll get them out to fix that.
Yeah.
So, any questions?
When will it be done?
I need no one's comments.
We don't know.
That's what I mean, I could send the contractor what I have, but I don't think I want the contract to come back out twice. You know, it's not efficient for him.
It could be in 2025.
Yeah, no, I think, I emailed Owen last week, and he said,
Stick for Owen?
He's the boss. He's in
I
charge.
emailed Owen last week, and he said he was trying to get to me this week, and I haven't seen him yet, so
He's
tomorrow
a busy guy.
tomorrow I'll ping him
on
again.
sites.
Unless you talk to him, Gabe, I don't know.
I've not talked to him
Okay,
yet.
I don't think-
I'll
I don't know
talk
if he's-
tomorrow.
His phone number?
Is that?
Can you share his phone number?
I have a cell, I can if you want.
Anything else from you, Craig?
No, that is all I have.
We'll move on to the airport manager's reports.
Oh, I'm sorry, one thing.
Yep, no.
I forgot to put on here. We do have a pre-design meeting for your purchase SRE coming up. It's
We have a meeting.
pre-design.
Okay.
So it's a scoping meeting
Okay.
for our scope, then we do the scoping, feeding, and eventually do the specs
Okay.
to replace.
This is on Friday at what time? Is this something that we're involved in?
Yeah, Gabe is.
Yeah, I'll be on.
Okay.
Is it 10:30?
I want to say 10:30 or 1:30.
10:30.
Those were the two options.
Yeah,
It's
I
one of
remember
those.
Okay. Cool.
So. Okay.
Tony had one more thing, sorry, what's up?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about this one. This is an important one. I guess on cash, I guess the city of Beverly got $2 million grant, okay? And $480,000 supposed to be for an impact study on all 4 runways. When is that gonna happen? I asked, Gabe about it a couple months ago.
What grant?
Was a grant for a study on all 4 runways. 480,000. That's what you guys got. What's happening?
Would that be the aeronautical study? How much was?
Uh,
I need
It was for the
$480,000.
park and thing there, and
We have a
480,000 was for an impact study
398
on
and
the runways.
328.
For something,
Which is,
I'm pretty sure it was for something, for you guys, an impact study on the runways. That's what it said, in the paper, on cash. I asked you about it, I was just wondering when, you know,
When did
the
this
city
come,
got the money,
when did this come out? Do you know when the patch post was?
about a month ago. Because I asked them, last time I asked you about that, remember? You told me you knew a little bit about it, what was going on, because you folks got the money for the, I don't know if
I
we.
mean, the last monies that we got was the federal award of the environmental study. And that was 358,000.
I think it was for
Where's
something,
the-
almost $500,000, I'm pretty sure, you look into
We'll
it.
definitely look into it for sure.
Yeah, awards
There's
don't
an
move
impact
very
study on the
fast.
runways.
If there's $480,000 to do a
Excuse
study.
me?
The awards don't move very fast, so if they announce it, it could be.
That's why, it
months
was, I
before.
don't know where it came from, but it's what it's called, for
No,
an impact
well,
study on all 4 runways. It's-
What, if we get $480,000 to a study,
That's what I
we'll
said.
take it. I
There's
know,
2
for
million
sure.
they got, and it was broken down, and you guys got 400 something, almost half a million.
All right, we'll look into it.
Thanks for the
Thank you,
update.
Tony. All right, airport managers report.
Yes. Hi, everyone. All right. Let's see. As you all know, I wasn't around much for October, so we'll start with our operations and fee report. A good month as far as our fee collections go.
Aren't you gonna make an announcement of your?
Oh, we talked about it earlier.
Oh, so
yes.
I came in late. I'm sorry.
Yes, we welcomed baby number 2 to the family at the beginning of the month, so I'm running on very little sleep. I won't remember this meeting, so. No, so as far as our fee collections go for the month of September, it was a really good month. Our fuel flowage fees were up 30%. We collected just over $9,000 in fuel flowage fees. Landing fees were up 15%. We collected $15,600 in landing fees. So we're still, tracking quite a bit ahead on both of those collections compared to what we were doing this time last year. Monthly operations were up 1,339 operations. So total operations for September were 8,456. That's, excuse me, an increase of 18.8% compared to September of 2023. And then again, our jet fuel tax revenue came in And we got, was not added on here. So we budgeted $20,000 for jet fuel tax revenue. We received $26,000 and for quarter 3. So for FY25, we've already met our revenue budget and are now adding surplus on that revenue that we were expecting. So that quarter 3 should say 26,000, might be here, $26,413. So any more jet fuel tax that we get, the remaining 3 quarters will be just pure surplus on our revenue budget. So that's good news that we're doing well on collecting that. Any questions about the fees and operations?
Just so you know, I was telling Gabe about this over the weekend. Some of the 99ers are coming back to me and saying, why is the parking fee at Beverly Airport $120 a night? So I'm still trying to
Well,
track
you told me,
down.
not Gabe.
I know, I told you not Gabe.
Okay.
I was trying to track down exactly where she heard that from. She flies down from Franklin County, Vermont, like the Canadian border
Okay.
once a week. And that's what she was getting quoted. It said she's going to Norwood instead. So I don't know where she got.
Our tie downs, if you fly here,
Yeah, and I did call
I know you
the
did.
I called
You
the
did.
FBO and they clarified that it was not $120 related fee or for overnight.
yeah, I think our overnight is $15
$15.
Yeah.
And then the FBO waives the fee if you fuel 10 gallons or more. So yeah, I want to know where she found that info, but. Did you get to tell her?
How's the tool working for you? Using the
She was
In Motion, was it?
Oh, yes, that's
So,
working really well.
Yeah,
There have been a few days that our receiver has kind of gone offline, but that's been just a couple days that, it's not picked up everything. It's still remaining pretty consistent that they're tracking the flights, the operations they're tracking tend to be under the numbers that the tower gives us.
Right.
And those tower numbers are what are then reported to the FAA. So the ADSB data says that we're getting, I think I said last time, like 15% less than what the tower is actually reporting. So that's remaining pretty consistent.
so I think the recommendation was if we were going to pay for the subscription, do you think that we need to do that or did we? I
Yeah,
can't
we-
remember.
We did.
Yeah,
we
we
did-
we got
did,
this-
Yes.
Okay, we did.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
so
did
you-
go ahead
So
and
you
get the
did flip it.
subscription.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, okay, good.
And I think that was really, it's very beneficial to have
Okay.
a full year
Yeah, yeah,
look
yeah.
back instead of just 30 days. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
great.
yeah, it's been really, really helpful. Yep. Budget summary. So we are just about 31% through FY25. We have received 35% of our budgeted revenue, so we're tracking just ahead on our revenue piece for the budget, which is good. And we're at 23% of budgeted expenses have been expended. Here's my broken record moment. Winter's not hit yet, and there's always that. For ahead, winters can be very expensive for airports for snow removal. And then I have a few line items in the budget that I've not tapped into yet, but plan to use to overhaul our signs, some signage that needs some maintenance and attention on the airfield that I want to get replaced. So there's a few line items like that that I've not tapped into yet. So I think we're still doing really well on expenses, but just that note. And then once again, we still have the $59,000 in ARPA money that will be used to cover personnel expenses. So right now, you see that the FY25 actual in personnel is showing just under 72,000. 59,000 of that is going to be paid for out of ARPA, American Rescue Plan funds. So that's also alleviating some of the expenses of the enterprise fund.
Is it gonna be charged directly there, or is it gonna be moved over after the fact, the expenses for the mural?
The expenses all be moved over. So right now they are they've hit the enterprise fund. So what we'll do is we'll submit a reimbursement request to the FAA, and then they will then reimburse those expenses, which will then, we'll move the current expenses over to our COVID relief fund project that we have set up, and then that reimbursement will come in to kind of backfill that.
We do have one other expense. We need a new furnace for the maintenance building.
Yes, but I think I have that. I think we can get that interstate
Fantastic.
instead of going out to third party. But yeah, working the city relationship. All right, anything on budget? All right, let's talk noise. So, since our last commission meeting to today, I have received 105 individual noise complaints from 7 unique addresses. So I want to note that you see location of complaints, the 98 from Wynnum, those 98 came from 2 separate people. One of them, again, sent.
Same party as last month?
Yes, sent 85, was responsible for 85 of those complaints. 5 from Danvers, 2 from Beverly. You'll notice on the type of aircraft that it's a lot of jets now showing up, and a lot of these jets are jets using 1634 and takeoff. I didn't get any specific complaints about 927 in this period. It was all 1634 traffic, which is out of the ordinary.
I haven't been on 27, that's why. When's that call from?
Right, and it was mostly jets. There was, and then as always, there were a few in there that were just planes constantly flying over. No specific aircraft was mentioned, no specific operation was mentioned. So that's what that in type of aircraft and the multiple and based airport of aircraft is showing. I also got 5 total complaints about the air show. So I kind of separated those down at the bottom just since that was a kind of outlier, unique event. I received 5 complaints about air show activities. Those activities started with the practice day on the 13th and then went to the 15th. The aircraft for the air show took off on runway 927 and then did all the load passes over 1634. These are old, antique military aircraft, not quiet. So, and they were, of course, flying low and doing weird maneuvers. So, because of that, we got 5. So 5 of those 105 complaints were about the air show.
All right, so those are in the.
Those are in that top count.
Yes. But you're, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
No, I don't understand that there's 94 NAs, what is that?
So that is, if I get complaints through the website where, John Smith says, all day Friday, there were just endless aircraft over.
Frames,
Correct. It was just endless aircraft over my house. So there's no specific aircraft I can point to. It's just collectively all the airplanes that took off from Beverly that day have kind of, everyone is kind of carrying that complaint. So that's what that is.
Yeah, you don't know if it's after hours or at 12 in the afternoon.
Correct. Yeah. And, it could be, 2 jets and 3 single piston and a multi-engine and all went over. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's really helpful. I do encourage people to try to be specific with their complaints. I know some days it is probably just incessant aircraft overhead, but it does help. It helps a lot to see that jets are starting to show up quite a bit. Most of these jet complaints were coming out of Wynnum because on runway mostly taking off and then flying over the wind and
I'd be
neighborhoods.
more interested in the ones that are flying out at 11:30 and 4:30 in the morning, right? If there's any.
Right, and we didn't get any curfew violations, and we got no
Yeah.
complaints about curfew violations in this period.
So it's hard, it's real hard.
Yeah. Everything I could tell from just the flight track data, all these operations were normal, legitimate. There wasn't, I didn't see anything that looked overly unsafe or out of the ordinary.
Right.
Pretty textbook departures out of the airport, so, no.
How long was the TFR today?
TFR is tomorrow.
Was
Or is
it-
there one today?
I thought there was one today too.
That's tomorrow, 2 to 7.
Here
So-
tomorrow?
Well, Manchester.
Concord and Manchester.
So it goes over us, the flights are shut down for that time. and they're
So if you have plans to fly out of here between 2 and 7, do not fly north. So just go south.
doing- Which brings her to the Bravo. so-
Yes.
Just stay at that
Let's
way.
go.
Just go east. Just go to the ocean.
Stay at 500 feet.
Yeah, so that's the noise complaints that I received this period. So any questions about that? Yes.
Hi, a couple of things pop into mind. This is very good you do what you do here. Thank you for your efforts. And everything I'm seeing here is definitely within the envelope of acceptable air operations, so there's nothing really popping out here. First question is, these people who make these complaints, do you ever respond to them or you? Okay, so.
Yeah. So like our neighbor that is the one sending in the 80, 90 complaints per month.
Mhm.
I tried a lot of times to reach out to her and I've never gotten through, but I mean, she'll send me a complaint and I'll pick up the phone right there and she won't answer. But other ones, I actually had several conversations today and catching up on noise complaints and responding to them. I was on the phone with several neighbors, kind of explaining what we can and can't do, where our authority ends, and then, just making them aware of the noise abatement program, and then I'll follow up, with, usually go back to, I know Paul has gotten emails from me before, like, hey, I got this complaint from this aircraft, can you check that out for me? And our tenants and operators here, I've never had an issue with them. If I reach out to them and let them know of the noise complaint, they're always very willing to help me out and figuring out how they can do better in their operations.
Great, thank you. Perhaps you might want to include a substitute on here in terms of responses.
Of course.
Yeah, it makes it a full, shall we say, full circle report. That way they say, well, complaints and this is how we respond, even if it's just without mail. One thing I would like to mention, I don't know if it pops out here or not. Occasionally I get questions directed to me, usually on a Sunday morning, about runway 16 is the Conway runway. And I've even had it, I've tested it myself, where despite it being defined as common under 4 knots, that they're calling it runway 27, and I'm kind of hearing from people out that way. Just wanted to mention it.
Of course, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I can definitely have some conversations to make sure we stay true to that calmly runway.
Please, if you would.
Yeah, of course.
These people are highly annoyed by that, and it's repetitious.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, certainly. Good. Any other comments, questions on noise?
I can give you one if you want it.
No, we're gonna
It's a helpful one.
No, wait a minute.
No, we're gonna keep moving forward.
This is
airport-
one directional right now, what you're
Mr.
discussing.
We're not taking public comments.
Well, then you should be taking
Yeah,
some
try to
public
help.
comments.
Did you
Try
want
to help
to,
it. But you don't want the help, it's okay.
your
I know.
Okay. We're gonna move on to the air show update.
So, I hope you all were able to make it out to the air show. I know I saw a couple of you. That was held 14th and 15th. It went really well. I think it was a big success. I had the privilege of watching it with the air boss, with the FAA, and as I still need to do a debrief with the FAA, but just in the moment, they had no issues with how everything went. It was done very safe. I wish Rich was here to give numbers, because I don't have the full tally on how many people were here, but it certainly looked like it was a really good turnout both days for the air show. So big success. Thank you to everyone that helped and made that happen. Of course, a big thank you to Rich Little for putting in that hard work to bring that great event here to the airport. So, yeah, just want to get that update, shout out. It was a good
I
time.
would say that the transportation was great.
You know, that is,
I jumped on the bus, got here, got on the bus out.
yep, that is
Just a
the
minimal wait, but it was
That is the
organized and.
one thing I keep hearing over and over and over again from people is that transportation and busing work wonderfully. Yeah.
Real quick comment, I enjoyed the air show, I thought it was terrific, it was like a mini Oshkosh, which I enjoyable. The only point I'll bring out is regarding available seats or seating for people. Okay. And the issue was you were charging for seats or something like that. The only thing I would suggest is in the future, maybe you might want to add a couple more bucks on the entry fee and just give everybody a chair.
Yeah, I can pass that on.
You know, that's the best and worst thing I got to throw at you, that's great.
I think you're just kind of modeling it after the New Hampshire air show, because they have huge expenses for some people, and then other people are completely free. So I think, I don't know if he's using the same model.
And then Commissioner Zuberek and I will be back on the trail, going to schools and spreading the good news of aviation. So, when is it? The 24th?
Yeah, Thursday.
Thursday. So,
My son's elementary school would like you guys to come. I'll email with dates, but then the older ones, like fourth graders, would like to come to the airport potentially. So I'm trying to do some outreach with the elementary schools and get them, you know, I was like, oh, we have people that will come to the school, we've been doing this, so they're very excited about it. I think it's like an enrichment program or something like that, yeah.
that'd be great.
So,
Lynn Public Schools reached out to me today to ask who would come there as well.
okay.
So Essex Tech has asked about next week. I'm not sure if I have anybody that can go there yet. Otherwise, I'll reschedule with him. I really want Tom to go to that one because it makes more sense
Yeah.
for him to go. But Beverly Middle School is going to try to set up a date. The Old Richmond School is going to try to set up a date too. It usually takes a while. It's usually part of another program. Greenfield reached out.
That means, where's Greenfield?
Western Mass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm still learning my Massachusetts
Why
geography.
don't you invite them here?
They were thinking about it. I was at Geek is Glam last weekend, which was an event put on by the Girl Scouts and Worcester Polytech, and it was all STEM activities. And there was all these troop leaders that were super excited that airports are willing to do this. I'm like, call them. They want you to come. They want you to come and check out the facilities, and they're just all intimidated.
I just got to the Scouts, so I'll make sure I talk to them, and I'm sure we get Troop 2 and 4 and 49 out here.
The Girl Scouts has a badge. I'm sure the Boy Scouts do too.
Okay, I'll look into it for sure. Bill?
Quick comment, I regret that I won't be able to join you, I very much enjoyed doing that time when you guys in school, it was good. I would just like to add that perhaps a point of contact for more information might be included and made available to potential students or to parties. And if anybody wants a point of contact, you can list me, and I will either give them an answer or get them an answer for one of the questions they have for career inspiration. So please list me if you think it's appropriate in your presentation.
Of course. Thank you.
A couple of things kind of related to that. The FAA, their budget year, they're still on continuing resolution, so they don't have money for materials right now. They're going to be getting them to me as soon as they can. Mass Aeronautics is coming with us for the first time this Thursday, and it's only because I happened to think about calling them on Monday, so they were very nice about that. We're trying to get some information from NASA too. They're a little bit harder to get in contact with. I'll remember to do it.
That's all I have.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll move on to commissioner comments. Chairman's comments. Everything's been running pretty smoothly, as smooth as it can be, I guess. I had a great cup of coffee with Mr. Zuberek the other day, and he was...
You should have had a drink,
Yeah.
a real one.
He was buying scones left and right, but no, it's been a good month, I feel like, and excited that Gabe is back. It's tough when you don't have your right hand with you, being able to call every day and chat and make sure everything's running smoothly. So, but yeah, no, I think everything's been going great, and like I said, I want to get the elementary schools involved in some of this stuff, and yeah, it's very exciting. So that's all I've got. I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah, I do.
Jason.
I did not go first.
Oh, you had your hand up.
Well, he always says that. Jason, Jason, I saw you first, so we'll
That's
go
a power
with you.
position, Bill. That's a power
Commissioner
position.
Roulette,
And
why
I
don't
can
you-
help you with Troop 49.
Fantastic.
I'm
Yeah.
on the what they call that, charter organization rep. So,
Cool.
and I've been wanting to get here. I've been trying to coordinate that. Obviously, my attention's been burning the candle at both ends. But this will be great. Anyway, I meant to do this last time to say I had a great visit with Mr. Zuberek on his show, and it was really, I was inspired, and I went away with a quandary of trying to figure out, again, how to do a better job of community engagement and how to follow through with some of the things that come up every meeting. And I'm finding it's a bit of a challenge. I can usually talk a lot about stuff and go on, but this one I struggle a little bit with, because I went onto the show because I really wanted to have a dialogue. I think it's really important that we do that, because a lot of times disagreements or whatever comes from misunderstanding, or you're kind of talking at each other, and there's a lot of things that are kind of are a little unnecessary. And if we could kind of sit down and really get drilled down into what the real issues are, we can begin having a productive dialogue and eventually coming to some sort of conclusion or answer, or at least a clearer understanding. And that's what I guess has been weighing on me quite a bit. And I feel it's such a loss, because we have great meetings here. And it's so much better than it was maybe a year and a half ago. Love it. And there's so many good things going on. And sometimes it's easy to forget about our neighbors, and forget about some of the other issues that we don't necessarily see every day. And I know I'm speaking for myself. And so after being on the show with Mr. Zuberek, that came back to me. And so I think whenever he stands and brings forward the points that he brings at every commission meeting, I sit here going is there a mechanism? Is there a mechanism that we can produce or have or create where we can kind of grab hold of that, analyze it, investigate it, triage it essentially, and then figure out an answer to that question. Take it through a process, which I would call a mechanism of accountability, right? And then the second piece of that is transparency, also understanding, what that process is in our process of trying to, triage that concern, that public concern, and then finding a way to also communicate a reasonable timeline for addressing that.
all the while setting, again, reasonable expectations. I think it's, we're a policy-making body. That's our job, and as part of our job, we're here also as a policy-making body to take into account all of our stakeholders and their interests. That's including our businesses and certainly the public, and especially our neighbors back here. And as I was thinking about this, I think, there's probably a lot of things we could be doing that we're not doing, or that we're unaware that we could do. And, I think one of those, as I was kind of looking at the FAA website, there are programs. We could be doing roundtables where we have the community and the FAA and the commissioners, or whomever, to come and tackle some of these topics specifically. I know for myself, I need clarification on some of these. What if someone comes up with a complaint about jet fumes or infrasound? I'm a little out of my wheelhouse at that point, and I want to spend time understanding what those problems are and how to evaluate those and analyze those and see if those need to be escalated or if those need to be moved over to someone else because it might not be within our domain to address. And I think sometimes that can create frustration. And that goes back to the third part of this is communication. We just need to do a better job of it. And we've had a lot on our plate. And so that's why I've been trying to figure out how can we do this in a way that doesn't violate OML. God forbid we should do that. That upholds the principles of accountability and transparency, because we need to do that as a governmental body, right? And that's only going to benefit the communities, it's going to benefit us, it's going to benefit the airport, and it's going to build goodwill. And I was thinking, what's to prevent us from creating a community fund to improve the conditions at the back of the airport? Why can't we investigate ways to find, sound baffling technology? There are programs the FAA has for insulating houses that are affected by the activities of an airport. The airport's been here since 1928. The neighborhoods arrived here around the 60s and 70s during the baby boom era. I didn't sign off on that. We didn't do it, but it's our problem now. We have to deal with it because people are affected by that. And so a lot of these concerns come specifically from the neighborhoods immediately behind us, right? I'm not hearing a lot of other things, apart from obviously the ones that are being recorded, but I love watching the private jets go overhead, and I'll get my little app out and say, is that a citation? Is that a Gulfstream? That's fun for me, and they're whisper quiet. But I'm sure they're not whisper quiet here. And I'm wondering what we can do for our neighborhoods, because they are impacted. And what can we, and by helping them, by talking through these thorny issues and looking for innovative ways to address them, and also looking at what the FAA has funding for addressing some of these issues. We should be exploring this. We should be helping these folks back here, and at the very least listening to their concerns, and at the very least providing them with answers, or at least ways to address these concerns, productive ways. Instead of shaking our heads, that sucks. We can do better. And so I think part of this is, there's improving our community engagement. Now, this is a big, as I'm talking about this, I'm sorry, I'm all over the map, but it's a big thing, but I feel it's really important. Of all the things that we do, our community outreach and engagement needs to be two-way. And we need to also talk about the good things we're doing and frame them as how they're beneficial to the community. And there's a lot of exciting things going on at the airport. A lot of, these developments don't have to be, development and business activity here doesn't have to be seen as purely a negative impact on the community. There's a lot of value and good. And the other piece to this is, one of the things that gets overlooked, I think, is part of being a good neighbor, which I'd like to have a good neighbor policy and start working on something to that effect, is, part of being a good neighbor is, sustainability, sustainable practices. I mean, part of what we're doing for the Innovation Committee was looking at alternative fuels and electric aircraft and solar, and again, this is taking less of an environmental, removing some of the environmental burden on our community and transferring to something that's positive and forward-looking. And look, the master plan is not policy. It's a strategic document. it can inform policy, right? So that's why if we can, and again, I'm not presenting anything tonight to vote on, this is just purely for informational purposes only, because I don't want to get in trouble. But the next meeting, I want to have something in hand, and I want to do something, because I'm feeling really frustrated. Because every time that a public member comes up and says something, I feel pain inside, because I want to do something. I want to do something. And I've nodded my head enough, I've written enough notes, now it's time to actually, I think, get something done. We have this conference next week, Mount Mama. I would love to be there and start asking some questions. I want to get on the phone with the FAA, because they do have an outreach program, and we can have them come here and help us with that. They have an outreach document, which is hundreds of pages long, I haven't read it yet, but I need to, right? And so I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying, this sort of just throwing everything out there. I would love to be able to not just do this on my own. I would love to have, of any subcommittee, I think this would be a very valuable one, because it's the umbrella for the noise abatement program. It's an umbrella for a lot of other things. We could frame it as a good neighbor policy or good neighbor program, where we are forward-looking and we have an umbrella for everything to kind of be situated under, and from there build out, our communication avenues, and we can build out our, structures for accountability, and also, always keeping in mind transparency. But anyway, that's my 2 cents, and then throwing that out there.
Doesn't it feel like what you were talking about a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago?
Exactly,
That's exactly what you just started.
Can
So
I
that
bring
came
you
back.
back? Because just remember what he said.
So just real quick, before we move any further, Gabe would like to speak.
Before we get down any road too far, I'm going to be the negative Nancy here. There is funding at the FAA for installation of houses and stuff. Beverly is not applicable for that.
Nor Danvers.
The Beverly, so the applicability to get that's a 65 dBL line. That's
The military jets flying in.
That's so like Chet Logan. So that 65 dBL contour line does not leave airport boundaries. So until FAA policy changes or Beverly Airport becomes noisier, that funding is not available for Beverly.
Yeah.
And we've been down this road already.
No, I think what he's
We've
saying,
had this
what he's
discussion.
saying is that we just need to explore some things.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
And look, and this is,
But this is what I'm talking
I'm
about.
talking about. I think that's what we do.
just explore.
It's
and-
not
no,
saying
it's okay.
it's a single flight. Single
No.
flights can exceed that. It's the average. It's a desktop exercise when we're over.
Yeah, so, but look, this is all great.
I've had
This is-
heard that's what we
But this
do.
is great that we're talking about this, because I feel like we're not talking about this. This is about transparency.
But I feel like we have talked about this for over a year.
So, can I
We have, and I feel a little hurt because
We
I've
have time.
spearheaded quite a bit of this, and we've done boots on the ground, and we don't take notes, and we have done things about it.
Yeah.
And I have had coffees, and I have talked to residents, and I do go out into Danvers on a daily basis. I mean, literally, I'm in Danvers almost every single day, and I talk to residents every single day. And so I do feel a little hurt that it sounds like we're not doing anything, and we've done more in the past year than has been done in the past 20 or 30 years.
Mr. Chairman, may I offer a joiner to that?
Sure.
Yes, you have, but as a commission, why am I even here? I mean, look, I don't feel included, okay, but this is a two-way street.
Were you on the noise abatement subcommittee?
I was not on the noise abatement subcommittee.
It was
but
open to have you on that committee, and we worked tirelessly.
You did, and I'm
Well,
not arguing that.
I think you can,
And the outreach that we've been doing,
Yeah.
that was something that
Right.
I would do, that's,
So I
like each individual person,
Has been doing things.
Right.
yes.
And if
I
you
think
have
we're
not,
missing-
that's on you, but you can't speak as a whole, as the commission has
No, I
not
think
been
we're missing the
accomplishing
point.
anything over the
I think
past
we're missing
year.
the point, 'cause
I think that's,
I think what I heard and what I've been thinking about myself is more, how do we collect data as a guiding post, as a guideline?
100%, and
So-
again, we have been. And we've
Yeah.
implemented policy
Yeah.
over the past year and started collecting data for the first time in the history of this
It's
airport.
awesome, it's awesome. The second part of that is, and Mr. Zuberek has said it at every meeting in the last 3 meetings, is he feels like his complaints are going in the round basket. We know that's not true, but one of the things that I was playing with is, and I'd be happy to volunteer to maintain it, is just having, just documenting someone's complaints. You want to pass, oh God, is that
I
one?
think they're empty. I mean,
All right, well, all right, but anyway, it's just a form, and this is just an example, it could be anything, but it's just writing the concern, who was it forwarded to, what was an action, and is it concluded? Just simple, let me just finish, okay? Just a simple way to document which provides us with saying, yes, we are doing something. We know we're doing something. You're making phone calls, everybody's doing something. But if we have a specific complaint or concern, I don't like the word complaint, issue or concern, then we can just document, this is what we did. You know, this is where it is right now. And the second part of that, and I talked to Gabe a little bit about this, is we have a very vague, we do have lots of copies of this, a vague mission statement. And I was looking up other airports that had much more specific mission and vision statements. And I think sometimes one of the things that I struggle with is, where do I go with this? Is there something in place? But, you know, MassDOT has a mission and vision statement. You know, FAA does, local airports do. And they include different things like the environment, transparency. You'll see that there's a whole variety of things there. And I'm not asking to do anything tonight. I just wanted to give out some information so that maybe it's something we might want to address. You know, we might want to talk about expanding our mission statement or our vision so it includes all this extra work, because it doesn't. It just says we're going to provide space for private and business aircraft. But everyone is doing so much other work, but it's not included in our mission statement. So for me, for me, I've been looking at this for months now, just trying to figure out, you know, where my brain fits in all this, and my actions fit in all this, and with having some kind of documentation to collect data, which can then look at things like the things you're doing for noise are great, and then what else can we do? If this is a particular issue that keeps coming up, what can we do? And then if we have some kind of look at the mission statement, I'm sorry, my back is too, mission statement, that's even going to help us even more. You brought up the question tonight, do we have to respond to that? Well, according to our mission statement, we don't. Okay, we don't. All we have to address is aircraft flying in and out.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think the commission is changing in its purview, and then how do we then keep up with that?
Right, and I totally agree, and we discussed this with you a couple months back when you first came on, and you said this is what I would like to spearhead as what you do to bring to the table, and I am 100%, I think the rest of the commission is also 100% on board with you spearheading that initiative, and we have put a spot on the website, in addition to noise complaints, just regular complaints, and kind of, we started an FAQ page for, and we went through, I don't know, dozens and dozens of airports all across the country to go through their FAQ page, and it took time because most of the airports are commercial, they're not this size, and they address questions of how do I check in, where does my luggage go, like all these things. So we deciphered all that and came up with our own FAQ page. So we have been trying to spearhead something along those lines. And I would love for you to step in, and the sheet that you passed around, having something where people can file, write something down,
I mean, you have
is
something in
fantastic.
writing, you can just transfer it to some kind of
But also,
documentation.
we have this, it's a very small amount, not a small amount, but it's the same complaints
Yes.
over and over. It's the same 6 or 7 complaints over and over and over.
And that's kind of okay, because what if we start using some kind of documentation, right? We can show, yes, we've heard this is what we did the last time. We can see if there's something new available to us, but at least it's being tracked. if people are submitting the written issue to us, then it can go to a person and, me, if it would be that, and put it into this table that we can refer to over the whole year. Is something, so yeah, that was brought up in January, and this is what we did. We'll check in, see if there's anything else available, but it's just a quick and easy, maybe not easy, but it's a quick
No,
check-in.
100%. I'm totally on board with that, for sure. Bill, yes?
Hi there. Allow me to calm the water, okay? This is healthy, all right? I'd like to go back to where Jason started this, and I'll be brief on this. Jason appeared on Mr. Zuberek's television show, which gave a little bit of courage, showbiz, a whole bit. But what he did was enthusiasm to get out there and do it. I realized it was beyond the envelope of where we're supposed to operate or should operate. I realized it was controversy because I've heard feedback from a number of different directions. So what he did was very brave. But the one thing I did hear was like, who was that guy? He was a face. It's been a very one-sided presentation in Mr. Zuberek's show over the years. He came up there and they had a wonderful conversation. So you did a lot of good doing that, and I salute you. Thank you very much. And one other thing I would like to say, again, supporting this group and calming the waters. I see an active body of people dialoguing, getting upset, getting on the table. That is so healthy. I've been here for about 25 years, and that's not a joke. 25 years, and there might as well have been stuffed animals in those chairs. Okay? Nothing. Nothing. So, derive the good from what you're seeing. You have an actual dynamic. People want to get involved. They want to go out there and do things. Yeah, people may tie their shoes together and goof up, but the bottom is they're trying.
Oh, I'm behind that 100%. I just want to at least acknowledge the work that has been done.
Absolutely.
That we are working towards.
Anyway, Mr. Miller, thank you very much.
So what I heard from Commissioner Roulet is that we could outreach, we could give the district office at the FAA to come in and talk to the community. So we just have to reach out to them. So start there and kind of work your way down. They deserve to actually come and talk to us, but they need an invitation. So I think you should.
And just to piggyback on that, that's my word tonight, is we can document the issue, what we're doing, what we'd like to do, and have the FAA right on that chart, so then, it's documented everywhere.
The saying goes, the FAA owns everything from the blade of grass side, right? So let them take control of that and talk to the people and we're concerned. But I had another, some other business. I was wondering, Gabe, did you hear anything back from the NOFA folks? You had not? Okay, that's a good sign.
Yeah,
I
nothing.
hate rejection.
I know,
So,
I know.
I assume that when new grants come up, you'll get an indication?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. A NOFO gets sent to my email.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, that was my
Mr. Henry.
Jumping back to the conversation, I think totally supportive. And I think what I heard was kind of the commissioners are doing more, but in that sense, we're not reporting out to the community and we're not documenting that, and therefore we're not getting as much bang for the buck that we are doing because we don't regurgitate it back out. So I think even that alone would give us some credit that we're doing there. So totally supportive, and if that conversation, how that wants to move ahead, I think more than
And
supportive.
to your point, I'm not talking about the substance of what's being
No,
done.
exactly. That's
And
why I'm not care about the windows isolated.
But it is that
we have to have
it
that
is
space.
translating what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
And that's, again, we all bring our own strengths to the table. And you guys are amazing. Every single one of you is amazing at what you are doing and your professional background. But it's also being able to harness our diversity of viewpoints and our diversity of experience, and that's what, with vision, we can do remarkable things. There's just so much we can, that should be, the public should know about. And the whole discussion reframed around how exciting and potentially beneficial this airport's gonna be for everybody.
Also, feel free to grab some of the innovation committee. We have a mission statement right up front that talks about sustainability and what our vision is.
Okay.
So you can grab a couple sentences right there and add to the airport.
And I think, too, on your point, Jason, is in moving forward with a roundtable discussion with the public, like Aaron had done in the past at the Danvers Senior Center, and trying to like bring the community in. I'm all about you going to the show and community outreach and whatever we've got to do. My only thing is I just want to do it as a commission and work together at something, as opposed to like me finding out, oh, Jason's going on the show tomorrow. You know, like I'd rather us all be like on the same page, so we don't have curveballs thrown. And then if someone like Bill is getting emails like, what just happened? You know, it's like, well, because so-and-so did something, or, you know, so like, if we're all on the same page and working to a common goal, working on our, you know, our statement, our mission statement, and, you know, and Aaron said this from day one, is like, what do we want? Like, what is our end goal? Is it monetary? Is it outreach? Like, what is our goal? And that's been your statements for the year and a half I've been here. Every single time we make a decision, we want to do something, it's like, why are we doing this? And how is it benefiting us? And how is it benefiting the public? And like, how is this working? So I just want to be a cohesive one commission that works together, and we're not throwing each other curveballs as we move forward.
That's literally what I was trying to say. And how do we do that? That's the question, you know, we have to, because I don't want to be
We're
out.
government, we form a subcommittee.
That's right, well, that's
And
what
we talk about it.
I tried
And in 6 months, we come back and say, this is what we talked about.
Exactly.
You want to know something? That's a great point. I mean, it's like, I can go from month to month and not get an email.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't, I think it would be great if we had maybe started the
And I
practice
forward
of,
them on
I'm
to
doing
you.
this, you know, I'm thinking about this, anybody want to join in, or anyone have ideas about this, but just having a dialogue.
We have to be careful with
Yeah,
the
about
meeting
what
law,
the
that is the
meeting
only
law,
issue. And I have talked to some commissioners about maybe putting out a newsletter to the commission monthly in between meetings that I can compile, and if everybody wants to send me something individually, and we can compile something that commissioners can see, is like Jesse and Gabe went out twice this past month, and or in the past couple weeks since the last meeting, and did this, and yes, Bill.
Real quick, I don't know if you are aware of what Jason accomplished when he showed up at Mr. Zuber's show. Basically, he introduced himself, and those two had a conversation. They really didn't get any kind of depth, but it was a face on that TV script, that media, whatever you want to call it. That was good. And as far as marching forward from here, have a little faith in God, bless him often. Just hope he doesn't screw up too bad. But despite showing up, he's doing a lot. And I'm telling you, that would be good for perhaps others to consider. Just say it.
No, right, but I mean, that good could be magnified if we were all on the same page, pulling in the same direction. And the work that you guys were doing this spring in the neighborhoods, again, we're selling ourselves short if we're not finding a way to regurgitate that and report back to the community.
So what can we do? So when I set up the events that we go out to, I always go to Gabe, I always go to Mary. Uncle Bill may hear about that for other reasons, but can I send an email to everybody and say, hey, this is going to be coming up, does anybody else want to come?
As long as less than a quorum shows up.
That's right.
Well, you can't,
Otherwise, we post
Let's
a
go
meeting at
Yeah.
Danvers Middle
Exactly.
School.
Well, you know, it's like,
Yeah, you can do that too. I mean,
Yeah.
this area has a different take on it, but you can post a meeting and not convene. Again, I know I'm gonna get myself in trouble. You don't have to come, you know, it can happen. There's a way that it could happen.
Real quick, you walked right into my trap. Thank you very much. Why don't you give a 15-minute segment on Mr. Zuber's television program?
Oh, wait a minute, I have to accept that. Oh, no, you don't. No free advertising.
This was supposed to be over.
All right. All right, so I think we need to move on. We have an executive session after this, but we do need to finish this up. And moving forward, definitely, we should talk more about our mission statement and things pertaining to what we just discussed, and have that specifics on the agenda for next month's meeting. And next month's meeting will be, well, I don't know if it's a holiday again. Is it Veterans?
Oh, Veterans
I think it's Veterans Day. So
That's on the day though.
No, it's
That's
Monday,
Monday.
the 11th.
I like how
yeah, it's Monday the 11th. So I don't know if we want to push again to the 18th, the following Monday, the third week of the month. If that,
In theory, I am fine with that.
is everyone fine with the third Monday of the month?
Wait, which one is that?
Just bump it out 1 week, November.
Just like we did for this month.
Because Monday will be a holiday.
What's the date?
November 18th.
It's classy, it's like,
What's that? Sorry.
yes, it's 9:30.
Okay, so we'll all do November 18th at 6 p.m. Okay.
I have one comment if
No,
I
we-
may.
we-
Yes, I do. I
You
deserve it
can now
after all
you
this
don't
You
discussion.
cannot do
You've
this.
been non-recognized.
This-
non-recognized.
this-
Non-recognized.
Finish us off.
Jason,
Finish us off, please.
4 quick points here. 2 questions, 2 comments, all right. Let's
this is
start
the
off.
problem.
We have a safety seminar coming up, tentatively targeting for November 7th. It is entitled Effective Use of Do-Lists, Cockpit Flows, and Checklists. This is like a pre-cam thing from the FAA, so that's breaking news. So it will be either November 7th or further, an alternative 11th. That can't be right. Okay, the other comment I have here is from my friends at NOAA, expect a really bad winter.
Thanks.
It's not a frightening day.
We've heard.
And the 2 questions is, we left off somewhere about the air traffic software, and I'm just hanging a question out there. I don't necessarily need an answer now, but we've talked about it, and lost track of where we left that, whether we were going to do anything or not.
We got the motion subscription.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I
And we're tracking ADSB, and we're sticking with the FBO, and we're capturing 98%. I think there's like 3 planes that sneak over to the east side to.
In the course of 3 months, I think the FBO missed 3 planes, 2 or 3.
But you got it.
But we
But you know it.
But we know it now,
So
so
they
it
get
could
to get this in there.
be at 99.999%.
And now my final point, the only stunt I have tonight. It's been brought to my attention that somebody has requested a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, and somewhere along the line, the city of Beverly has said, well, if you want that, there's a $500 charge for processing that.
Yes.
I've been in government and industry for a long time, and I've been on both sides of the FOIA thing, both requesting and supporting. I've never heard any kind of a penalty or a financial thing addressed to it. It's always been.
Oh, there's always issues.
I think on that one, you guys, that's the city of solicitors,
Yeah,
that's the
it
city
has nothing to
solicitor's
do with
office,
us.
take it to them.
Yeah.
That is not the commission, that is the city
Yeah.
solicitor's office.
Okay,
Yeah, nothing we can do about it. It's up to the city.
all right, well, I just want to please put it on the record.
Yep.
That's all, folks.
All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn and move to?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Bill and
You don't want to
Mr.
adjourn, you
Johnson.
don't want to adjourn into executive session.
Adjourn into an executive session. So I have a motion from Bill, a second from Commissioner Gillette.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.